She thought she'd buried it. All of it. The screams, the fire, the shaking hand she never looked back to see. It was supposed to stay gone, locked in some far-off grave under a name she no longer used. But tonight, there it was. A letter. No sender. No stamp. Just slipped under the door like it belonged. You can't bury the truth forever. That's all it said. 7 words. And everything she'd been running from, it cracked open just like that. She used to be Marina. Marina Cole. That name, it meant something once. Back in Millfield. It was full of fire and softness, all wrapped in one. She laughed a lot then. Loud. Unapologetic. Now it's Mara. Quiet. Calculated. A whisper the girl she used to be. It's easier that way. Safer. She works at a library now. 10 years and not a single misstep. Everything's labeled, sorted, controlled. People don't ask questions if you keep your head down and smile just enough. But control is fragile. And all it takes is one paper cut. And suddenly you're bleeding again. She stood there, holding that letter like it was made of glass and teeth. It shouldn't have felt heavy. But God, it did, like a ghost had passed through her and left fingerprints. She opened it, because of course she did. And those 7 words, they weren't just words. They were a key to the part of her she'd locked away and promised never to visit again. She hadn't spoken his name in years. But the second she read it, she heard it, his voice, calling her from the flames. Mara, still here? Thought you'd be halfway to dry socks by now. Just finishing up. You know me, neat freak. Ooh, mysterious envelope. Someone crushing on you. Nope. Trash. Forgot to toss it. You're impossible. One day I'm going to crack your code. Sure. Good luck. She didn't breathe easy again until Sarah left. But even then, the silence wasn't silent anymore. There was pressure in it, like something waiting. She stepped out into the rain like it owed her something. Didn't flinch. Didn't blink. The letter was still in her pocket, burning through the fabric. She wanted to believe it was random. Just a joke. Wrong person. But that hope, it vanished fast. This was personal. Intimate. Surgical. Millfield. She hadn't let herself think of it in. God, how long? 10 years since the fire. 10 years since she became someone else. But Millfield doesn't forget. It festers. It waits. And someone out there remembers every inch of what happened that night. She didn't see anyone, but she felt it, like static in the room. Like someone breathing where no one should be. That's how the past shows up sometimes. It doesn't knock. It seeps. This wasn't a warning. It was a trigger, a spark. And it just landed in the middle of everything she rebuilt. There's no pretending now. The past isn't behind her. It's right here, waiting. Millfield wasn't the kind of place you come back to. It was the kind of place that stuck to your ribs, rotted you slowly from the inside out. She'd promised herself, swore it even never again. But here she was, thanks to 7 lousy words scratched on cheap paper. You can't bury the truth forever. And that truth? It was everywhere. In the cracked pavement, in the smell of the old mills, in the way the air itself felt like a warning. Who the hell sent it? And why now? 10 years of silence. And suddenly Millfield remembered her name. She parked just outside town. Didn't even cross the tracks at first. She stood there, still as death, staring like the buildings might collapse if she blinked too hard. It didn't look different. And that was the problem. Same rusted storefronts. Same fog rolling off the hills. Same weight. This wasn't a town. It was a scar. A place where the past didn't just haunt. It hunted. She'd been Marina Cole back then. Bright-eyed. Stubborn. Full of plans. Too big for this place. That's what Elias used to say. He made her believe they could escape. Move to Chicago, maybe. Start fresh. They talked about it every night. Until one night. Everything burned. Literally. And she walked away from it all. Changed her name. Buried her past. Or tried to. She didn't know what was waiting for her now. An old ghost? Elias himself, somehow alive and angry? Or someone worse, someone who'd watched her that night, who'd seen what she said, what she did, Marina Cole. Look who the wind dragged back. It's Mara now. I'm not staying. Just here to figure some things out. Figure what out? You left us choking on ash. You ran while the rest of us buried what was left. I didn't run. I had to leave. You don't know what. I lost my brother, Mara. My home. You think you're the only one hurting? You think you're the only one with ghosts. It was never supposed to happen. The fire, it was an accident. Was it? You were there, with Elias. And now you're back, pretending you're innocent? Be careful. Millfield remembers. And someone's been watching you. Those words hit harder than they should have. Because deep down, she couldn't swear Lila was wrong. Not really. The fire, it felt like fate back then. But now it felt like a story she told herself to stay sane. There were holes in her memory, moments she'd blocked out, words she barely recalled saying. And that letter said someone remembered everything. The graveyard hadn't changed either. Same crooked gate, same overgrown stones. She knelt at his headstone, like she used to kneel at his door, back when love still felt like a way out. His name looked wrong in stone. It was supposed to be on mailboxes, baby announcements. Not this. She whispered his name, felt nothing, felt everything. She convinced herself he died in that fire. But what if he hadn't? What if someone else was there that night? Someone who saw what happened, heard what she said to his father. What if that one conversation was a match that lit the whole damn thing? She didn't see anyone, but her spine tightened like a wire pulled too taut. She felt them, watching, not just curious, intent, like they'd been waiting for her to show, to slip, to break. Millfield never let go. It just waited for the right moment to reach back and dig its fingers in. She'd come for answers, but all she'd gotten so far were warnings. And as she walked away from Elias's grave, her boots sinking into damp earth, one truth took root. The letter wasn't the end of anything. It was the start. And whatever was coming, it had already begun. She never wanted to see this place again. Not the bar. Not the town. Definitely not him. But here she was, drawn to it like a moth that already knew the flame would kill her. Millfield's last open wound, where men came to forget they ever hoped for more. And Mara, she came for answers. Because whoever sent that letter, you can't bury the truth forever. They weren't just poking around in her past. They were dragging it into the light. And the man inside this bar, he might know why. She pushed open the door. Heat, cigarette smoke, regret. All of it slapped her in the face. The music was old. The faces older. And every eye turned to her like she didn't belong. She didn't. Not anymore. 10 years ago, she was Marina Cole. Now she was just a ghost. She saw him before he saw her. Caleb Reed, still carrying the weight of 2 graves in a town that never healed. He used to glare at her like she was poison. Tonight, he didn't even blink. Didn't need to. The hate was already thick in the air. Caleb, I need to talk to you. Of course you do. Marina Cole, back from the ashes, come to reminisce. It's Mara now, and I'm not here for memories. I got a letter. Someone knows about the fire, about Elias. Someone knows what you did, you mean. You think I forgot? I didn't start the fire, Caleb. I didn't mean for any of it. Didn't mean? You told my father Elias was stealing. You think that didn't light a fuse? He was spiraling. I thought I could help him. I didn't know it would end like that. You didn't know? Or you just didn't care? Elias didn't just burn, Mara. Someone made sure he stayed inside that night. And if you're here looking for sympathy, you walked into the wrong damn bar. His voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. Every word was a nail. And Mara, she couldn't tell if she deserved it or if she was already too numb to fight back. She thought she knew the truth. But Caleb's words twisted it, made her question everything. What if the fire was an accident? What if someone used her confession as kindling? And maybe right now, you're thinking, what would I have done? Would you have stayed, spoken up, or run? If that question burns even a little, hit subscribe. Because walking away from this without subscribing, That's like leaving someone in the fire and pretending you didn't smell the smoke. And if you can leave, go to the comments. Tell us why you didn't subscribe. Tell us why you walked away. And then, there it was, another letter. No one saw who put it there. No one claimed it. But it sat on the bar like it had grown out of the wood. Same paper. Same ink. Confess, or it burns again. Her stomach dropped, not because of the words, but because she didn't know what the hell to confess. She'd already admitted to the worst part. She betrayed Elias, told his father the truth. That should have been enough. Should have been everything. So why did this feel like just the start? The bar was closing in. The walls. The stairs. Even Caleb, for all his anger, looked confused. She stepped outside, breath ragged, and in the alley, she saw movement. Someone slipping away, just out of reach. No face. No voice. Just silence like a threat. Caleb's words wouldn't leave her. Someone made sure it burned. So was it him? Was this his revenge? Or was he warning her? Trying to point her towards something darker? Something she still didn't see? She stood at the edge of the factory ruins like they could speak. And maybe they could. Maybe they'd been screaming all this time, and she just didn't want to hear. The letters weren't just clues. They were traps, lures, and she was the bait. Whoever was pulling the strings. They weren't after peace. They were after blood. And unless she found the truth soon, Millfield was going to burn all over again. The factory stood like it remembered everything. Every scream, every spark, every promise broken in the heat of betrayal. Mara came because the second letter told her to confess or it burns again. She didn't know what she was walking into. A ghost? A threat? A trap? But she knew this place. It had been the beginning of the end. And maybe her last chance at the truth. Or forgiveness. If that was even still possible. 10 years ago, this place was just steel and sweat. And hope. She'd stood right here in this exact spot. Eyes full of tears, voice cracking as she told Elias's father what she'd found. The missing inventory. The lies. The fear that Elias was spiraling into something they couldn't come back from. She thought she was helping. Thought love meant telling the truth. She never imagined it would end in fire. The walls whispered as she moved, groaning with age, soaked with memory. She didn't expect anyone to answer her questions, but the silence felt loaded, like it knew she was close. Too close. And then, she wasn't alone. Elias? No, you can't, you're supposed to be. Dead. You saw flames and ran. That doesn't mean I didn't crawl out. I thought you were gone. I didn't know. Didn't know what would happen? That telling my father I was stealing wouldn't send him into a rage? You lit the match, Mara. I was trying to save you. You were ruining everything. I thought if I told him, he'd stop you. Stop me? He disowned me. And I lit the fire. Out of anger. Out of spite. But you left me there. You watched me burn. The air felt thick. Not just with ash, but with the weight of everything she refused to feel. Elias was alive. Scarred. Angry. And every word from his mouth was a blade. But he wasn't just here to punish. He wanted something. He wanted the truth, even if it ripped them both apart. You think this is just about guilt? About pain? No. This is about what you refuse to admit. You didn't betray me to save me. You did it because you didn't trust me. That's not true. Isn't it? You broke us before the fire ever did. Her eyes found the timer before her brain did. The blinking lights. The bundled wires. She didn't want to believe it. But Elias, he meant it. He'd rigged the place. And now she had a choice. Tell the town what really happened. Tell them what you said. What I did. Or this place burns again. And this time we burn with it. You're serious. You destroy it all. It already is destroyed. The only thing left is truth. And maybe justice. Her legs trembled. Not from fear. From knowing he was right. She'd told herself for a decade it was just a mistake. But it was more. It was pride. It was fear. It was a need to control a man she loved because she didn't believe he could save himself. She could lie again, or she could speak. Tell Millfield everything. That she told Elias's father. That Elias started the fire. That she ran. That they both broke the town. And maybe that would be enough to stop the next flame. Maybe not, but the timer was ticking, and the truth was the only thing left standing. Dawn came slow. It didn't bring peace. Didn't dry the guilt. Just soaked Millfield in this pale gray stillness. The kind that settles in after a storm tears everything down. Last night, she looked Elias in the eyes. Alive. Burned. Changed. And he gave her a choice. Speak the truth or watch the fire come again. She'd chosen truth. Choked it out into a recorder while the rain battered the factory roof. Now it played through town like a ghost set loose. And she waited, not for forgiveness, just for the weight to shift. She'd sent the recording to Millfield's only radio station. Hit send with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. And now, her voice echoed through shop radios and pickup speakers, through the square where kids used to ride bikes and elders used to whisper. She told them everything. The love, the theft, the mistake, the fire, her silence, her guilt, Elias's truth, everything. Her voice sounded small over the airwaves. Not the girl they remembered, not Marina Cole. Just someone try to make it right. She didn't expect applause, didn't want redemption. She just couldn't carry the lie anymore. It was crushing her from the inside out. You did this? You and Elias? Yeah, I did. I loved him. I messed it all up trying to fix it. You should have stayed. Faced it when it happened. I didn't know how. I was drowning Lila, and running felt like breathing. I heard you on the radio. Heard the way it broke you. I don't forgive you, but I don't hate you either. That's more than I deserve. We all carry things, Mara. Some things don't get lighter. We just get used to the weight. They listened. She could feel it in the silence. The way no one looked at her. And also, the way they didn't walk away. Some would never see her as anything but the girl who brought ruin. Others, they didn't nod, didn't smile, but their stillness was something. A beginning, maybe. And then, the note, his final letter, left on the windowsill of the place she'd been sleeping. Elias hadn't lit the fuse, hadn't pushed the detonator. He just vanished. Again, but not out of vengeance, out of mercy. You spoke. That's enough. Now live. That's all it said. And if you made it to this moment, if you heard her truth, felt the weight of what was nearly lost, then don't leave like nothing happened. Subscribe. Not for us. For yourself. Because if you stay silent after this, that says something too. And if you're not subscribing, at least drop into the comments and explain why. We're all wondering what keeps people quiet, even after the fire. She stood there reading it like it might vanish if she blinked. He didn't need to say goodbye. He'd already done that in fire. This was something else. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe not. Maybe just release. And Millfield? It wouldn't forget. It's not that kind of town. But it let her stand there. It didn't drag her out. Didn't spit her back onto the road she came from. Maybe that was mercy, too. A crack one. But real. She left the town behind. But not the truth. That stays. Always does. The fire didn't kill her. Neither did the lie. But the truth, it changed her. And maybe that's the only kind of salvation we ever get. Not escape. Just clarity. She asked herself one last time, what do we owe the truth when it costs us everything? The answer never came. Only the silence. And for once, she could live with that.